Welcome, everyone, to our exciting Wheel and Anchor webinar, The Mighty Mekong, covering the two countries of Cambodia and Vietnam. I'm thrilled to take you through this incredible 16-day journey, which will cover these two captivating countries. So get ready to immerse yourself as we start off in the vibrant streets of Ho Chi Minh City, where we'll explore colonial architecture. We'll delve into the Cu Chi tunnels that played such an important role during both of the wars in Vietnam. We'll savor some incredible and authentic Vietnamese cuisine, and then embark on a truly luxurious 7-night cruise on our privately chartered riverboat, the elegant Pasok Panda, where we'll sail up river through the heart of the Mekong, from the heart of the Mekong Delta up towards Cambodia. Our journey will culminate in Siem Reap, which is home to the awe-inspiring Angkor temples. Picture yourself watching the sunrise over Angkor Wat, exploring the tree root covered ruins of Ta Prohm and marveling at the enigmatic faces of the Bayonne. This adventure promises a perfect blend of history, culture, and natural beauty. From hands on cooking classes to serene meditation sessions, bustling markets to tranquil temples, every day will bring new discoveries. If you've watched our Wheel and Anchor webinars before, feel free to skip ahead to the day-by-day itinerary. You'll find out the chapters of this webinar just below the description on YouTube. But if this is your first time watching one of our webinars, I encourage you to listen to the short introduction about who we are and what our organization is all about. Wheel and Anchor is a community of like-minded Canadians who appreciate a more authentic and immersive approach to travel. We welcome those who understand that most organized travel these days has become somewhat formulaic. Our trips are designed to strike a balance between structured experiences, allowing plenty of time for personal exploration. While we offer a comprehensive itinerary, we also build in ample free time for you to discover hidden gems, pursue your own interests, or simply relax. If you value the camaraderie that comes from traveling with fellow enthusiasts and enjoy a mix of guided tours and independent adventures, you've definitely come to the right place. We have two key goals for all the members who participate on our trips, and those are being well traveled and well connected. When we talk about being well traveled, we're not just referring to checking off destinations on a bucket list. There's nothing wrong with having a bucket list. Every avid traveler has some dream list of destinations that they'd like to visit. But what I'm talking about is about offering experiences that keep your curiosity and sense of adventure alive. We seek out opportunities that can change your perspective on the world. At the same time, being well connected is all about forging friendships that last beyond the trip itself. It's about having a network of fellow travel enthusiasts with whom you can share stories and plan future adventures. It also means having the time to genuinely connect with people and the places that we visit. Accomplishing all of this requires dedication and hard work, and we have an amazing team of professionals dedicated to making that happen. My name is Gordon Dreger. I'm the founder of Wheel and Anchor, and I curate all of our trips based on over 3 decades of experience organizing trips for Canadians to all points of the globe. While our entire team is crucial, I want to highlight our lead trip specialist, the most important person for you to know. She is your go-to person for any questions that you have, or if you'd like to sign up to join on this or any of our trips. Our agenda for this webinar is quite straightforward. I'll be your virtual tour guide, walking you through a trip which covers both the rural and urban aspects of Vietnam and Cambodia. First, I'll start with a geographical overview that will give you a sense of where this trip takes us, and then I'll go into the day-by-day details that will give you a bit of a sense of what you can expect each and every day of this trip. Our trip begins in the commercial hub of Vietnam, which is, of course, Ho Chi Minh City, which is locally still referred to as Saigon. After a few days immersing ourselves in the urban life and traditions of Vietnam, we head to the Mekong Delta, where we'll board our vessel for the 7-night trip upstream, passing villages and towns and truly idyllic scenery before we reach our disembarkation point, which is just to the south of Tonle Sap Lake. From here, we'll travel overland up to Siem Reap, the city at the center of the incredible Angkor Wat UNESCO site. We'll wrap up with 3 incredible days here before setting off from the new Siem Reap International Airport, either homeward or on to our next destination. So let's jump into the day-by-day highlights of this unforgettable 16-day journey. through Vietnam and Cambodia, and I hope that you'll find that this adventure is truly a perfect blend of culture, history, and natural beauty. As I've just mentioned, our trip will begin in Ho Chi Minh City. Although there are no direct flights from Canada to Vietnam at this time, it's a relatively easy place to get to. You just need to transfer in one of the major East Asian gateways, Tokyo, Taipei, Hong Kong. You'll, in any event, find it not that difficult to arrive in Vietnam's main commercial city. As you arrive into Ho Chi Minh Airport, you'll be picked up by your private transfer driver and brought downtown to our centrally located hotel. And you'll immediately find yourself immersed in a vibrant metropolis that seamlessly blends both history and modernity. This bustling city is only a small portion of the overall land area of the country, yet houses a population of almost 10 million people. We'll be staying here for the first 4 nights of our trip at a lovely boutique hotel in the center of the city, which offers a tranquil retreat from the energy of the urban environment. Ho Chi Minh's fascinating history is reflected in its multiple names. It was originally called Pre Nocor, the forest city, so named by the Khmer people. Then, under Vietnamese rule, it became named Gia Dinh, finally Saigon during French colonization. It received the name Ho Chi Minh City in 1975, but interestingly, many locals still refer to it with both names, Ho Chi Minh City being sort of the more official one. As you settle into the city on your first day, take a moment to observe the unique rhythm of the city. It's a symphony of honking horns and sizzling street food, and the constant flow of motorbikes to what the city is so notorious for. You may not have known that Ho Chi Minh has 25 times more motorbikes than cars. And as you drive into the hotel, you'll certainly see that. That is a staggering 7.3 million motorbikes which navigate its streets every day. Our second day and first full day in Saigon will be an exploration of Saigon's colonial past and present. We'll start off with a visit to the charming French colonial post office, which is a testament to the city's colonial history. It was actually designed by Gustave Eiffel, a name you might recognize from that tower over in Paris, built in the latter part of the 19th century. It was truly an architectural gem that stands as a reminder of the French influence that still permeates many aspects of the city. From there, we'll head over to the War Remnants Museum, which takes a sobering look at Vietnam's turbulent past. The museum is a poignant and sometimes quite graphic account of the Vietnam War, which, by the way, they refer to locally as the American War, and it serves as a powerful reminder of the conflict's impact on the country. We'll continue from there over to the Jade Emperor Pagoda, where the air is thick with incense and intricate carvings tell ancient stories. This is a Taoist temple, and it was built in the early part of the 20th century, and it's one of the most atmospheric temples in the whole city. It's filled with statues of phantasmal divinities and grotesque heroes. As you have a chance to explore around, you'll notice the unique blend of both Taoist and Buddhist influences that characterize much of Vietnam's religious landscape. In the evening, we'll enjoy a welcome dinner at The Deck, which is a modern Pan Asian restaurant on the banks of the Saigon River. This trendy spot has amazing views over the river and showcases the city's evolving culinary scene. This blends traditional Vietnamese flavors with international influences. It's truly the epitome of fusion cuisine. As you dine, you'll take in the sights of the city skyline, including the impressive Landmark 81, which is the tallest building in Vietnam. Our visit today in Ho Chi Minh will take us somewhat outside the city, and we'll take in one of the most poignant reminders of the Vietnam War. We're going to head up to the Cu Chi Tunnels, which is an underground network that played a crucial role in the Vietnam War. The tunnels stretch over 250 kilometers from the outskirts of Saigon all the way to the Cambodian border. They were a vital part of the Viet Cong's resistant efforts. As we explore the vast network of tunnels, and of course, you don't have to go into all the smallest of them because they really were designed for the Vietnamese soldiers, but you'll truly gain an insight into the ingenuity and resilience of the Vietnamese people during these wars. The tunnels housed entire underground cities, complete with living quarters, kitchens, and even hospitals. An interesting fact about them is that the unique soil composition in and around Ho Chi made the tunnels both easy to dig, at the same time incredibly sturdy. When exposed to air, the soil became as hard as concrete, excuse me, and you'll see that when you go into the tunnels, because it almost seems like it was made out of an artificial substance. From there, we'll head over in the afternoon into Vietnam's rich coffee culture. Uh, you might not have known that Vietnam is actually the world's second largest coffee exporter. And we'll hear all about that when we visit a local coffee studio where a certified barista will treat us to an aromatic cup and share insights into the history of Vietnamese coffee, which started back in the 19th century. You'll have the chance to try the unique Cape Sua Da, which is an iced coffee with condensed milk. Back home, this is called Vietnamese coffee, simply. And this is a staple of Vietnamese coffee culture that perfectly balances strong coffee with the sweet condensed milk. It's personally one of my favorites. We'll cap off the day at the mesmerizing AO show at the Saigon Opera House. This is an incredible performance that beautifully blends circus arts with the stories of Vietnamese culture. And it offers a contemporary twist on traditional Vietnamese village life and its transition to modernity. The show is a testament to Vietnam's rich cultural heritage and its ability to adapt and evolve the modern world. We have one more day in Ho Chi Minh, and this will be a treat for food lovers. Our first stop will be a visit to a local market where we'll select fresh ingredients from our cooking class. And I always find these markets interesting because you get to identify fruits, vegetables, and even meats that you've never seen before, never seen them in the configuration that you do in the markets in Asia. Vietnamese cuisine is renowned for its balance of flavors and textures. And today, we'll have a chance to learn some of how to make some of the delicious dishes for ourselves. The cooking class will introduce you to the fundamentals of Vietnamese cuisine. There's a kind of a unique interplay of herbs, nuoc nam sauce, the fish sauce, which is common in Vietnamese cuisine, and a number of textures that make each dish into a sensory experience. As we're doing our cooking hands-on, we'll learn about the regional variations in the cuisine and how historical influences, including Chinese and French colonization, have shaped the country's culinary landscape. You might even learn to make ban jiao, which is the famous and popular sizzling pancake that's considered to be one of the 100 most interesting facts about Ho Chi Minh City. From there, you have a whole afternoon at leisure to explore more of the dynamic city at your own pace. You might want to visit the bustling Ban Tan market, where you can practice your newly acquired bargaining skills from the morning market visit, or just take a stroll down Nguyen Hue Walking Street to observe local life and admire the beautiful French colonial architecture that lines the boulevard. You will definitely want to keep your eye out for the unique local custom of family and friends gathering on tiny tables in front of their houses, sharing meals in a daily celebration of community. Today, we make a short hop out of the city and down to the Mekong River, where we will embark upon our riverboat. When you first step aboard the vessel, you'll be immediately taken back by this wonderful sort of colonial charm, design, the wood paneling throughout. It has a wonderful, warm, and welcoming feeling. The Basok Panda is, in fact, the third in a line of grand Vietnamese sisters alongside the Orient and Indochina vessels, which look similar. This is a four-deck riverboat, which is luxurious, but at the same time understated. It's a replica of a colonial era vessel dating back to the 19th century. It has a very elegant design and a shallow draft, and it can navigate waters that some of the other ships simply can't access, which brings us closer to the heart of the Mekong Delta. As we cruise, we'll notice how this beautiful ship turns head, whether we're sailing across the delta or docking in the port of Phnom Penh. The sun deck is undoubtedly the crown jewel of the Basok Panda. It's a marvelous place to watch Asia go by and where most of our guests will spend their time. Here, you can relax on the teak loungers, enjoying complimentary drinks and ice cream from the bar, or browse through the ship's library. The Basok Panda also maintains an open bridge policy, which means you can visit the captain and crew at work at pretty much any time. For those who like to stay active, the ship also has early morning Tai Chi sessions right here on the sun deck. There's also an onboard laundry service, and the attentive crew even cleans passengers' shoes after each excursion. Dining on board is truly a delight. All of our meals will be served in the air conditioned main deck restaurant, which has panoramic views of the passing landscape. The culinary experience is a highlight of the journey. We have breakfast typically at buffet style. Early risers have a chance to get some coffee, tea, and some snacks out on the sun deck. Lunch is either buffet or a sit down meal, but dinner is always an elegant four-course experience. The ship's chefs really pride themselves on using fresh, regional, and seasonal produce. And throughout the day, you can have coffee, tea, and soft drinks, as well as ice cream, beer, and domestic spirits, which are all included in the fare. And they're all served on the main bar on the upper deck. There are a total of 30 staterooms aboard, although one of them is reserved for our host. 20 of them are on the upper deck and 10 are on the main deck, although they're all roughly the same in size at around 16 square meters. That's comparable to your larger cruise ships or river cruise ships, similar size cabins. So they're quite comfy. They have air conditioning, French windows that open up to provide stunning river views, and they can be configured as either twin beds or a double, so everybody's needs can be accommodated. The staterooms are designed to combine colonial era character with contemporary comfort. Each one has a desk, a safe. There's ensuite bathrooms with good showers and sizable showers. You'll find bathrobes, hair dryers, and slippers that are all provided for your comfort. It's worth noting that in keeping with the ship's focus on escapism and relaxation, the cabins don't have minibars, they don't have satellite TV or internet access or telephones. This is intentional because we want you to focus on the journey itself and immerse yourself in the wonderful landscapes that we're going to be passing through. After a first blissful night aboard, we're going to be spending our first full day on the river by visiting Ben Tre and the fertile waterways. We're going to begin by sailing through the Chao Canal, which is a vital waterway that was constructed by the French back in the late 19th century. This canal played a crucial role in connecting Ho Chi Minh City with the Mekong Delta, and it facilitated trade and transportation for almost 150 years. We'll stop there at Ben Tre, which is known as the coconut capital of Vietnam, and here we'll explore the river a bit by sampan, weaving through mangroves and bamboo forests. It's really a beautiful experience. We'll be gliding through narrow waterways and looking for the abundant bird life. And if we're lucky, we might even have a chance to spot the very rare Irrawaddy dolphin. In Ben Tre, we'll see a little bit about the agricultural bounty of the Delta firsthand. This region produces not only rice, but also a significant portion of Vietnam's fruits, vegetables, and fish. We'll have a chance to visit a local village, which is known for its handicrafts. And here we can observe traditional mat weaving and coconut candy making. These cottage industries are an integral part of the Delta's economy, and they've been passed down through generations. As we explore, you'll notice how life in the Delta moves to the rhythm of the river. The waterways serve as roads, with boats of all sizes transporting goods and people. This aquatic lifestyle has given rise to unique cultural practices, including the famous floating markets, which we will experience over the coming days. On the seventh day of our trip, we are going to be crossing the border on the river into Cambodia. But before we get to the frontier, we're going to start off with a visit to Sam Mountain and the Hang Pagoda. It's only 230 meters high, but it has incredible views of the surrounding Mekong Delta as well as neighboring Cambodia. The pagoda was nestled on the mountain slopes, and it's a serene Buddhist temple with a history dating back to the early part of the 19th century. We'll then get to Chao Dok, where we'll explore floating fish farms, which is an innovative aquaculture practice that has become a significant part of the region's economy. These farms raise specific species of fish in netted enclosures directly in the river, adapting to the delta's aquatic environment. It's a fascinating example of how communities have developed sustainable practices in harmony with their surroundings. Our cultural exploration will continue with a visit to Cham Muslim village. The Cham people are descendants of the ancient kingdom of Champa, and they've maintained their distinct culture and Islamic faith in Vietnam literally for centuries. The visit offers us a unique glimpse into Vietnam's cultural diversity, showing how different ethnic groups and religious groups can coexist in the Mekong Delta region. We'll then cross over into Cambodia. The border formalities will be taken care of by your host and the ship's crew, and you'll experience this fascinating process of a river border crossing, which is probably not something that you may have done anywhere else in the world. The transition between countries provides an interesting perspective on the geopolitical landscape of the region and the shared importance of the Mekong River to both countries. We'll then sail into Phnom Penh, capital of Cambodia and known as the Pearl of Asia. It's called that because of its beautiful French colonial architecture. And our exploration of the city will begin with the cyclo tour, which is a quintessential Phnom Penh experience that allows us to navigate the city streets in a traditional three-wheeled bicycle taxi. Our first stop will be the Royal Palace and the Silver Pagoda, which showcase Cambodia's royal heritage. The Royal Palace was built back in the latter part of the 19th century, and it serves as the residence of the King of Cambodia, and it's a stunning example of Khmer architecture. The Silver Pagoda, on the other hand, was named for its floor, which is covered with over 5,000 silver tiles. It houses national treasures, including gold and jeweled Buddha statues. Later that afternoon, we'll have a somber but important visit to the Tuol Sleng Genocide Museum, as well as the Killing Fields, which is a term you're probably familiar with. These sites stand as powerful reminders of Cambodia's tragic history. We'll visit the notorious Security Prison 21, S21, where thousands upon thousands were imprisoned and tortured. The Killing Fields of Choang Ek, where many visitors from S21 met their end, are now serving as a memorial to the victims. These visits are undoubtedly a bit challenging emotionally. I call them tearjerkers, but they are really crucial to understanding Cambodia's recent history and the resilience of its people. Later that evening, you'll be free to explore a bit of Phnom Penh's vibrant nightlife. You might choose to visit the lively night market or enjoy a sunset cruise on the Mekong or sample some local cuisine at one of the city's many restaurants. Although we, of course, have dinner on board, but some of our members on recent trips have decided to opt for something a little bit different. Phnom Penh's culinary scene has a delightful mix of traditional Khmer dishes and international flavors, which reflect on the city's truly cosmopolitan character. We now reach the point where the Mekong will divide itself into two other rivers, and we'll be sailing onto one of them, the Tonle Sap. As we sail up the Tonle Sap River, we'll actually witness one of the most fascinating hydrological phenomena in the world, because the Tonle Sap River is unique in that it changes direction twice a year. During the dry season, it flows into the Mekong, but during the rainy season, it goes the opposite direction, and the Mekong's waters push it back, causing the river to actually reverse its flow. This natural occurrence is crucial for the region's ecosystem and agriculture. We're going to be visiting Kampong Tralach, which is the site of the medieval capital of Long Bec. Here, we'll tour by ox cart, which is always a lot of fun. It's a traditional mode of transport that offers a glimpse into rural Cambodian life. As we trundle along dirt paths between rice paddies, you'll gain some insight into the agricultural practices that have sustained this region literally for centuries. In the evening, is truly a warm, heartwarming moment because we'll be visiting a delightful village celebration. We'll see how these communities have embraced river tourism as part of their culture, and we'll have the opportunity to interact with the locals, perhaps joining in some traditional dances or tasting local delicacies. These interactions are often prove to be some of the most memorable parts of the journey because they offer you authentic and unique insights into Cambodian rural life. And the feedback we've gotten from our members about these visits has been truly overwhelmingly positive. On our excursion today, we're going to learn a little bit about the art of Buddhist meditation and as well as the cultural practice of silk making. We're going to start off in a town called Udong, which is actually a former capital of Cambodia between the 17th and 19th centuries. The site is home to several stupas on the top of a hill. A stupa is that golden pagoda, if you will. It's not a pagoda, it's a stupa. And from there, we have panoramic views of the surrounding countryside. The stupas contain remains of several Cambodian kings, making Udong an important pilgrimage site for Cambodians. We're then going to head over to the Vipassana Dura Meditation Center where you can participate in a guided meditation session. This is truly an immersive cultural experience because Buddhism plays a central role in Cambodian culture, and this visit gives us some insight into the spiritual practices that shape daily life for many Cambodians. Later on, we'll learn about traditional silk making processes. Cambodia has a rich history of silk production that dates well back to the 13th century. We'll see the entire process from the cultivation of the mulberry trees, which is the food source of the silkworm, to the intricate weaving of the silk fabrics themselves. This ancient craft has been passed down through generations and remains an important part of Cambodia's cultural heritage. The day will conclude with a demonstration of Bokator, which is the Cambodian martial art form that is ancient and nearly went extinct during the 20th century. Bokator means pounding a lion in Khmer, and it's believed to date back to the armies of Angkor, and it's considered to be the predecessor of modern kickboxing. Its revival in recent years represents Cambodia's efforts to reclaim and preserve some of its cultural traditions. Our last full day on our riverboat will take us to the Pamchikong Pottery Village. This spot that we'll visit is a hub of Cambodian pottery making, which dates back to the prehistoric period, and it's really been a significant part of the country's cultural and economic history. While we're in Piem Kong, we'll see local artisans at work, and they use techniques that have been passed down through generations. The village is known particularly for its distinctive red clay pottery, which is still made using traditional methods. And you'll have the opportunity to try your hand yourself at pottery making, which will give you a new appreciation for the skill and artistry involved in this ancient craft. Pottery making is one of those things that it looks easier than it actually is. We'll also have time to explore the village market where you can find a whole variety of local products as well as handicrafts. These markets are not just places of commerce, but they're also important social hubs where community members gather to exchange news and socialize with one another. We'll then have to have our farewell dinner on board our beloved riverboat. We'll enjoy our last evening on the river as the sun's going down. We'll reflect on the incredible days we've had on the Mekong and the Tonle Sap rivers, the sights that we've seen, and all of the people that we've met along the way. We'll disembark our riverboat just after breakfast and make the overland drive for a few hours up to Siem Reap. We're going to be staying in a very well located hotel not far from the Royal Palace. When we arrive, we'll have some lunch and have time to settle in and relax before we head out for the evening. It's a lovely hotel with lots of amenities that will. You may just want to relax around the pool for a while. This evening, our first evening in Siem Reap, we'll attend a performance by the renowned Phar Circus. This is not just any circus because it's a social enterprise that empowers underprivileged Cambodian youth by teaching them acrobatics and music and storytelling. The show is a truly mesmerizing blend of traditional Khmer culture and modern performance art. It tells stories of resilience and hope. The performer's energy and skill will leave you absolutely inspired. The 1 hour show is an unforgettable way to begin your visit in Siem Reap. On our first day out in town, we'll have a short orientation tour so you know where all the hotspots are, particularly for handicrafts. But before we get into the shopping, we're going to start off by visiting a working Buddhist pagoda, which also houses an Angkorian ruin, which is a quiet introduction to the region's very rich history. We'll then head over to Kandal Village, which is a trendy area filled with boutiques and shops and cafes, and we'll have a chance to see some of the local artisans at work. But the highlight of the day, I think, will be heading to Sacha, which is a unique handicraft center that combines traditional Cambodian skills with contemporary design. This whole initiative of Sacha supports artisans whose livelihoods were impacted by the pandemic, and it provides a sustainable income and training. You'll see workshops for stone carving, silk weaving, and more, all set within beautiful rice fields. The bamboo architecture of the center itself is as impressive as the crafts themselves. You'll have lots of time in the afternoon to explore Siem Reap on your own, perhaps making a visit back to the markets, but we'll head out for dinner at one of Siem Reap's finest restaurants where you'll get to enjoy modern interpretations of Khmer cuisine. Today's going to be the day that we get you out of bed bright and early, but let me tell you, it will be worth it. We're actually going to start before dawn so that we can witness sunrise at Angkor Wat. As the sun is gradually rising from behind the horizon, it will illuminate this incredible temple complex, and you'll understand why it's considered to be one of the world's greatest architectural wonders. It was built back in the 12th century as a Hindu temple dedicated to Vishnu. Angkor Wat later became a Buddhist site, and its intricate bas reliefs and towering spires symbolize Mount Meru, the mythical home of the gods in Hindu mythology. After we have a chance to explore Angkor Wat in the morning in more detail, we'll have a traditional Khmer breakfast near Srasrang Reservoir before continuing over to Taprom Temple. This one is famous for its tree-covered ruins. Taprom has a hauntingly beautiful glimpse into how nature has reclaimed parts of this ancient site, as well as other temples in the region. Later on in the afternoon, we're going to visit Angkor Thom via its eastern gate, which is known as the Gate of Death. It sounds a little ominous, but we'll walk along its ancient walls before descending to explore Bayon Temple at its center. It's known for the enigmatic stone faces which are carved into the towering spires, and Bayon represents Jayavarman's the seventh's vision of divine kinship. Today's final visit will take us to Bante Sray, which is often called the Citadel of Women. This is a small but very intricately designed temple. In fact, I have a very vivid recollection of it from my previous visit to Angkor Wat some years ago. It is renowned for its pink sandstone construction and the incredibly exquisite details which depict Hindu mythology. It was built back over 1,000 years ago by a counselor to King Rajendravaraman. My pronunciation of that is probably terrible, but it stands as one of Angkor's finest artistic achievements. We're then going to head back to Siem Reap, and we might stop at the Bante Samray Temple or some local villages that will give you some final insights and experiences of rural Cambodian life. The afternoon, you'll still have more time to explore the markets at your leisure, time to maybe pick up some last minute souvenirs or crafts, or otherwise relax at the hotel before our final farewell dinner. The farewell dinner will be a truly special meal that will feature a host of regional dishes that will be paired with local wines and beers, and will be a truly fitting and fun end to our journey. Today, you'll have to check out of your hotel and say goodbye to your fellow travelers as we depart and end our journey. There'll be time for a delicious breakfast if your flight isn't too early in the morning, and then we'll make our way to the airport by private transfer, and you'll be off to your next destination or homeward bound. I trust that the webinar thus far has given you some insight into what this incredible adventure is all about. Of course, there's a lot more details to be had, and your first stop to getting information about this trip is on our website. In fact, the link to the webpage for our next upcoming tour to the Mekong can be found in the description, which is just below this video on YouTube. When you go to the webpage, you will also find a link to download our detailed trip itinerary. This is a lengthy e-brochure, how we do all of our trips, and you'll find a day-by-day description as well as all of the inclusions, exclusions, prices, all the details that you need to know. In addition to all of that, we also have a trip-specific reference guide, which gives you some more logistical information about what's involved in traveling to this part of the world. Of course, you may have questions, or you may be so inspired and convinced that you just want to join us on this trip. Either way, you're welcome to drop us a note. Email is preferred, but you can also call our office. In any event, you will be responded to by Paula, who will hopefully provide you whatever information you need or the booking form so you can sign up and join us on this very memorable trip. This wraps up our webinar on the mighty Mekong to Cambodia and Vietnam. I hope you found it informative. If you like this format of webinar, if you'd like to follow us and see new programs as they are released, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You just click on subscribe, which is again just below the video on the YouTube page, and you'll get a notification anytime that we come out with a new trip, which is roughly once a week, sometimes more frequently than that. Either way, I hope you'll consider joining us on this amazing adventure, and I hope to meet you in person at one of our upcoming social events or perhaps on one of our exciting trips. Thanks again for tuning in.